Hello and welcome to another TNC Oppo preview, and it's live. It's been a while. Last time out, just to remind you, Yellows, it was a massive win. Yes, that's right. Another win. But oh, no. 3 goals. Oh, no. Away from home against Watford. And up next, it's time to see whether we've got what it takes to get some sweet, tasty revenge against Crystal Palace at Carrow Road. And who better to give us all the Palace pointers than huge Crystal Palace boy, Mr. Beniesta. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You all right?
Yeah, I'm well.
You've got so much energy. I can't believe it.
Well, I'm surprised I have, because I've done a full day of work. I've just recovered from COVID. I'm shaking off a cold. I must admit, it is because I'm very much energized by the fact that we are dropping our podcast with Mr. Ben Gibson tomorrow. So that's giving me a lot of renewed energy. Anyway, enough about us and all of that nonsense. Let's talk about you, and let's talk about the mood at Selhurst Park right now. How is it? Because I feel like there was a stage where Palace were building really quite rapidly under Patrick Vieira, but now it started to maybe dwindle a little bit recently.
I don't think too much. I mean, take into comparison like the last 4 years we've had, and it's just boring football, boring results. I like to have like a fresh whole brand come in where it's like high press attacking football. You're exciting youngsters. We're actually trying to score goals. It's I still say everyone's buzzing. Like, to be honest, even when we lose games, sometimes I come out and I'm still like, yeah, what a game that was, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's nothing to be sad about at all. It's a process. It's going to be a long process, but I'm entertained when I go to Selhurst now, which is all you can ask for, to be honest.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
What it's about, yeah.
Absolutely, it's all about bloody entertainment, isn't it? That's why we love the game. It is why we love them. And before we do get into this, we will be talking about Vieira. We'll talk about Palace, the players in form, all of the usual stuff. But before we do that, let's go to the comment section and say hello to a few people. DJ Cone, wow, what a username that is. When's the pod out? It's out tomorrow night. The time will be revealed at 7 o'clock when we drop the trailer. Lara, who's a Watford fan, I'm not sure what the hell you're doing in here, maybe checking out a club that's going to survive instead of you, saying Watford are staying up. Do you think Watford are staying up, Beniesta?
No, they're going straight down. No doubt about that. I hope they do, and they are going to. So,
the savagery has begun. Alex Halford, what a name that is, by the way. YouTube comment, evening, Chris and Beniesta. Good evening,
evening, mate.
There's some Eagles being chucked in there from Ben, really a Palace boy. We love a bit of that. A bit of a lively username here, Ninny Death. Says, love your content, mate.
Look at the photo.
Or thank you. Maybe you're talking about Mr. Beniesta. But yeah, anyway. Last one, Harry. He's watching from Ireland. Good evening. I'm sure who's a massive fan of the Irish R9, who's playing well for the mighty Yellows at the moment. Right, let's get into this conversation. And I'm going to pile some misery on you because I know that you're going to pile some misery on me in this conversation. Let's talk about last time out in the league. Liverpool at home. A 3-1 loss. How did you take that game? What was the performance like? Where are you at after watching that?
I mean, for the first half hour, I was thinking, right, if we can get away with like a 6-0 loss here, I wouldn't feel that bad because we just didn't show up. Yeah, we like the first half hour, we were really bad, and they kind of just showed like it was such free-flowing football. It was one touch, bang, 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 like the triangles they were playing in that. I just thought, like, are we ever going to turn up? And then I think we just found out that if you just put a long ball over, you're one-on-one with the keeper. And we found that out, and then obviously we got a goal back, and it was just non-stop. If we could actually finish our dinner, hand on my heart, we should have scored 5 goals. We literally should have scored 5 goals. So you kind of got come away from that looking at ourselves like, all right, there were some very, very dubious things that went on in that game. And of course, it always does. But like, it was kind of in our own hands as well. Like Gallagher missed a header from about 2 yards out.
Yeah.
Allison made like 3 saves from about 3 yards out that were somewhat straight at him. Another day they go in, another day they don't. But like overall, we had more chances and they just buried their chances. So I was annoyed, but you're not expecting to go and win or get a point against Liverpool anyway. So
they're a machine, aren't they? They're such a machine. I think the thing is with Liverpool is even if you play 8 or 9 out of 10 and you do everything but bury your chances, Liverpool will crucify you. They really will. What did you see from that game that you think Vieira might bring into this Norwich game, or will we see a completely different shape, a different type of performance? Do you think there's any lessons to be learned from that game at all going into the game against Norwich?
We don't really I don't think we have a game plan per team, so to speak. We kind of try and play our own game, and then if it doesn't work, kind of go from there. So I think it's just going to be the exact same. It's high intensity, but I think we struggle against teams that sit back against us. So if you turn up 5 at the back and try and sit back, we're going to really struggle because we can't score. But if you're attacking us, it gives us an easy way to go and have more chances. But we're not going to change what we do in any game, to be honest.
There you go, Dino. You've heard it from Mr. Beniesta. That's how you beat Palace. Simple as that. Let's quickly go to the comment section. I'm getting some abuse here from Sexy Motherfunker, who says, "Did someone say usernames? What am I meant to say? Am I meant to say, I don't know, is it addies? Is it names? Is it what am I meant to say instead of username? Let me know."
Oh.
Any ideas?
Mate, username's a username.
Yeah, you should use them. There you go.
I won't get too cut up about that, but
yeah, bit of banter. Did Palace lose 4-0?
Getting battered 4-0 on Wednesday night.
There you go. What are your thoughts on Palace getting battered 4-0 on Wednesday night?
You're talking about Wednesday coming, yeah. I was like, was I asleep for that? No. To be honest, I wouldn't have any thoughts if we got battered 4-0 because I don't think I'd be in a mental state to process that. I'd either be in bed or, just couldn't see. But no, I mean, it's happened before. Sunderland at home, that wasn't good. They were at rock bottom. I don't think they've won in about 20 years and they just popped 4 in the first half. So look, never say never. I'm not going to say we're going to batter you 4-0. You may batter us 4-0, but I don't think you're going to. I'm not going to put a bet on it. I'm a betting man, but
I'm sure you will turn up the heat in a minute because I know that's not the truth. I really don't. Liam is in the house. He's saying 4 wins on the bounce and coming. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a little bit of that indeed. Right. If you were in the Norwich camp and you were doing some spy work for us, how do we go about beating Crystal Palace? Where are the weak spots? Because I must admit, I think this is the best. I'm going to say, I think this is the best Premier League Palace team I've personally seen. I obviously don't keep a keen eye on Palace, but I'm so impressed with Palace, mate. I'm impressed with them defensively. I think the mixture of experience and youthful talent is there. I love what Vieira is bringing. But how the hell do we go about beating you?
To be honest, if you're talking about weaknesses from a starting 11 point of view, I think a few teams cottoned onto it as well. Our right back, he's getting on a bit. Joel Ward, he's getting on a bit. He's not really been up to standard. He can have an odd, solid game, but he's not consistent week in, week out. And if you put someone with a bit of pace, he'll crumble. That kind of thing. So everything comes down that side. But recently, when we've got Ayew playing, he plays right wing, and he will come back and contribute to defending down that flank. It's been fine, but he's been away at AFCON, and we've had Elise, which he's a much better player than Ayew. He'll get more goals, but then if we're playing against a team who's going to attack us a lot, then maybe it's better to have a player like Ayew who's going to run all game and help out Ward.
You had Ayew.
Yeah, he's at the beginning of the season, I was like, there's no way this man plays football. There's no actual way that he plays football and get paid for it. So it's just, what are you doing? He just spins round in a circle on the spot and loses the ball. What are you doing? It's just really come into his own. I just don't know if it's like trying to settle into a game plan or something like that. But if he starts, I'll be fine. I'll be like, yeah, that's all right. But beginning of the season, I'll be like, you've got Elise, unbelievable.
He's a player. He's an absolute player. And it's music to our ears to hear that is your weak spot. And Oliver has brought this up in the comment section. Rashica masterclass incoming then. Fingers crossed indeed we can hurt them from the wings. I don't know what's happening. Sexy Motherfunker's back. Can't believe Beniesta has fallen for this, Chris. I hope Dean is taking notes. Oh, well, there you go.
For your sake, I hope that Premier League manager Dean Smith is not listening to Beniesta's, because then you've got a massive problem there.
By the way, username of the night, 100% without a shadow of a doubt. And you've mentioned a couple of players there. If you were to pick out the most informed Palace players, who would they be? Who do you think will hurt Norwich on Wednesday?
Depends if he starts. Elise can hurt any team. Like he's generally a ridiculous player. I think at his age, he's better than what Zaha was at age 20, or just turned 20. Like I don't see the kid make a mistake when like his first touch is just unbelievable. Knows exactly where he's going every time. It's one of the players you just get on the ball and just laugh. Just like yeah, they don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'd say him, but I don't think he's a guaranteed starter. He still isn't a guaranteed starter. And we got Ayew coming back, so you got kind of that. Gallagher's been a bit, I wouldn't say a ghost. He's just not been what he was for us at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But I think he kind of started with setting such a high standard that even when he has a good game, we're like, oh, that's bad. But like in actual truth, compared to the other players on the pitch, he's done okay. So him, and then to be honest, we've not really got informed players, but no one's doing bad, no one's doing great. But that's, you're just plodding along mid-table. What can you expect?
I smell averageness. And I haven't checked the table in a while because I've tried not to this season, but I believe that Palace have only had one more win than Norwich. Is that true?
I don't check the table a lot either.
Have I got that wrong?
Probably. We've drawn so many games.
Let me know in the comment section.
We've drawn so many games. I think we've drawn like 8 or 9 games. I could be wrong there, but it's definitely more than 7. And probably like 6 of them were last-minute equalisers. So,
Yeah, and class, by the way. Absolutely class. And by the way, just back to the players. Is it Elise? He gave it to the Millwall fans, didn't he?
Absolutely love that. Yeah,
that was class. I really enjoyed that.
I don't think it was his goal either. I think he scored his goal, picked up the ball, and ran back. Because like you will never see a 20-year-old playing Premier League football, just like having like he's one of the best at it, and he's just the most miserable guy you'd ever see. He's not miserable, but he's just like he just doesn't care. Like in interviews and stuff, like they'll ask him like, "Oh, how do you feel about that goal?" And he'd be like,
"It's all right.
Yeah, it's good." Like he just literally like he keeps himself like so like shut off, which I think is quite funny because it looks like he's got like proper elite like mentality. But then he assisted Mateta's goal, and it was after that one that Mateta goes over and kicks the corner flag because that's his trademark. Sorry, and while he's at the corner flag, he's in the Millwall corner, and they'll just go absolutely mental. And then Elise is just there like that. Did it for the cameras, man. That's what you got to do.
A bit of entertainment, and I'm sure it got the Palace fans more on side. Indeed, a man that has certainly got you on side at the moment is Patrick Vieira, and I must admit, I'll hold my hands up. I looked at Vieira coming to Palace, and I thought, "Oof, I can't see it working straight away." But it has worked straight away. He's got what, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, a really good synergy with the supporters. The players are executing his game plan. What have you thought of Patrick Vieira, and considering it's his first season at your beloved club?
To be honest, like you probably weren't the only fans thinking that. A lot of our own fans are thinking, because we were chasing Lucien Favre for like a couple of weeks,
right?
And then that deal fell apart, and it was kind of like we were linked with Vieira, and 3 days later he's our manager. So everyone was thinking like, oh, it's a panic thing. But like I was open to anyone that wasn't Roy Hodgson at the time, I'll be honest. But I was kind of like, Premier League legend, like clearly knows a little bit about football. Let's give him a go. It can't be much worse, can it? Like than scraping relegation every season and just playing like proper boring football. So I think any new manager coming, whether it was Vieira or anyone else, if they just started to bring exciting, high octane football back, then that would have won the fans over straight away. I mean, there's a lot of games that's frustrating because we should have won. Like a game against Brighton, we conceded in the 95th minute, and then Arsenal we conceded in the 94th minute. Like so many things like that, you would get annoyed. But it's kind of like didn't lose them, and if we'd have just focused for one more minute, then it's a completely different story. So it's things that are easily changed. But I wouldn't be too upset if we ended up finishing like 15th, because it's going to be a long process. The team we had last year were like, the average age was 30. We got rid of like 13 players. Like it's a massive rebuild. So this is a massive, like, it's a bonus to be having a season as good as it is. So as long as you don't get relegated, I'm not fussed.
I was going to ask you that. Like, I personally, if I was a Palace fan, I'd see this as a transition season, right? You've gone from, as you've described, boring football under Hodgson, scraping survival. Vieira's coming in. He's trying to try some different stuff. He's making you work in different ways. The supporters are getting used to it. And that leads me on to my next question, which is, where do you think that's where you'll finish this season, and where do you think you can go in a couple of seasons' time? Like, could you see your club progressing into a higher position? Because you've been mid-table merchants for years. Let's be honest.
Classic, mate. Yeah, I mean, everyone's aim when you've been in the Premier League for like 8 years is to start kicking on to not wanting to survive every year, to aiming for top half finishes. I reckon we've had the squad and the potential to, like, if you could have a good season, to kind of sneak into like an 8th or 7th position, like Burnley did a couple of years ago, like West Ham are doing consistently. By the way, like, look at teams like that. It's definitely down to the fact that they've had a solid manager for a couple of years and they've got their they know what they're doing every game, kind of thing. Because that Burnley squad wasn't well beaters. The West Ham squad now isn't well beaters, and they're like pushing 4th. It's just because they've got like a solid base and they know like exactly what's going on. So I would say like 3 years time, I want to be finishing top 10 consistently. Because I just think that if you're not going to after 10 years, then what's the point, really? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to keep being feeder, like selling all our good youth to like when Man United come knocking and they have to go. I want it to be at least a little bit of a, is it really going to be good to go and like move to United, or should I like stick around with Palace a little bit, kind of thing? So I think that's just kind of where we need to go. But as long as it's entertaining, as I said, and it's actually worth the money going to football games, mate, then that is what it's all about.
On that very topic, and I'm staring at a man's shirt behind you. And
Beniesta. Oh.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
That is match worn and signed. I'll have you know.
Talk me through this Zaha shirt.
I got it off some guy like last year, but that's the Championship playoff season.
Yeah,
that we got promoted. That's the one we had. So it's the last season we had before we moved to United. But it's just a replica, and he was in a club shop, and someone got him to sign it. It's not like match worn or anything like that.
Oh, that's all right.
I wish.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's absolute centerpiece. It's great for a backdrop.
What's your opinion on Zaha? Like, he is a Palace legend, isn't he? Because I do see things every now and then where there's people talking about his attitude, him wanting to move away, the club blocking him move, blah blah blah. There's always noise around Zaha. Is he a Palace legend?
Oh, about that, he's Palace's best ever player, without doubt. People probably get caught up too much in the moment sometimes where he's done something like a silly red card, like at Spurs and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, he thinks he's too big for this." Like, but to be honest, he's probably got to a point, where he's one of the only players that like he could just go and like be a wanker and get away with it because of what he's done. Like, you just got to like, fair enough if he wants to do that. If it's anyone else, they don't get away with it. But like, he's kind of earned it, kind of thing. So just leave it. Like, if he wants to start fights and stuff on the pitch, it's because he's passionate and he cares. So I'd take that as a good thing. But if it does go wrong, don't get on his back, because it's kind of like he's a very unique player.
And a player I do want to talk about now is Mr. Donny van der Beek, who I think he rejected Palace. So let's hear it from you. What happened in the January transfer window at Crystal Palace?
I don't know, mate. I don't think we wanted anyone, because we're just happy with like how it is. I think if you're buying, literally, I think if you're buying in January, it's because you didn't have a good enough summer, and that's your own fault. Because January prices are inflated, or you're panicking. I said on Twitter, like, we're probably not fighting for Europe, and we're not fighting for our lives relegation wise. So why would you go and give someone 3 million to go and train up United's player for 6 months, kind of thing? Like, I don't think he improves our team so much that he gets us a European place or like keeps us up. I think it's kind of like it's a luxury signing.
You a bit hurt by that?
You know what? Like, normally something like that, I'm like on Twitter the whole time, like trying to look for sources and seeing, who's like, is he coming? Is he not? And to be honest, I was kind of like, if he comes, brilliant. If he don't, like, I don't really care in the first place. You're looking like you want a reaction from me. Like, I really think, I trust our owners enough that they make good decisions.
Absolutely. And by the way, brilliant owners at Palace. I really do need to say, I always give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get your honest, and I'm sure they will be, brutal thoughts on Norwich City. What have you made to us this season, and do you think we'll survive?
It's one of those things in every league where if I'm putting an accumulator on, I kind of look for who Norwich are playing. I then bet on the other team. It's kind of like, that's an easy thing. That's kind of, but it has changed. The New Year's brought something. I don't know what Dino's doing. But I mean, that's true though, isn't it? I do that in the Championship as well. But to be honest, for any team
You must have lost.
fighting,
Hang on, no. You must have lost a lot of money then. You must have lost a lot of money.
tell you
Then.
what, now I've been winning a lot of money. Well, no, if the other.
We battered the Championship, mate. So you must have money down the drain at this point.
No, I'm like I look in the Championship, who the bad team in the Championship do the same and put it on the same accumulator. But to be honest, if I had better decisions elsewhere, I had you beating Everton. I had you beating Wolves at the weekend.
Hello.
That's 4-1. I looked at that and I was like, they're on good form. Like they can nick something.
Do I sense a bit of a closet Norwich City fan here?
I've got a good friend who's a Norwich fan.
Oh,
two good friends are Norwich fans. So yeah, I don't mind though. I'm not one of them people that go, "Oh, Norwich are a yo-yo club. They should be banned from the Premier League forever."
No, don't.
It's just like grow up. Like, if you can survive for like 3 or 4 years, and the aim is to get back. Like, and it's not your fault that you've got Premier League money. Like, it's not like, oh, we got this money, but because the rest of the Championship don't, let's just allow it. Like, of course you would want to get straight back. Like, I don't mind it. It's an easy 6 points every season, but. And it's a good away trip when it's not a Wednesday night at 7:30.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, the brutality has begun already, which is interesting. But I'm going to force you to compliment us now.
Right.
If I had a gun to your head and I said you have to sign a Norwich player right here, right now, for Crystal Palace, who would it be and why?
Oh, you're testing me. I don't collect match tax anymore, so I don't have the full squad. Are
we that bad?
To be honest, like I know you got Ida. Is that how you pronounce it? Ida?
Yeah, Adam Ida. Yeah.
To be honest, at Palace, who was the guy that come on for like the last 10 minutes? He looked good. I think I looked him up earlier. He's like is it Jonathan Rowe? I want to say that name. I'm chucking it out there. But he come on. I was like, he was a little bit. He was a bit of a tasty player. I know he's quite fresh, but I reckon like keep an eye on him.
Mate, keep an eye on him on Wednesday night because
really, he's going to start.
I think no, but I think he could come off the bench and do some damage. So Jonathan Rowe, let's have a go. We've never had someone pinpoint a youth player as a player that you would sign, but
I wouldn't say I've signed him. I did say that. I'd probably go Max Aarons because I don't like Joel Ward. That's it.
Yeah, Max. Everyone says Max. Everyone always.
As a footballer, he's probably a nice lad, but you know.
Right. Let's talk about this game now. Let's get on to the crux of this conversation. What sort of game are you expecting at Carrow Road on Wednesday night? Do you think this will be a closely fought battle? Can you see us easily? Can you see yourselves easily turning us over again?
Oh no! We weren't easily turning you over at all. I still think the first game was a bit flattering, to be honest. Like again, we didn't finish our chances, but the chances we did get, like we could have easily not scored. Like the Mateta goal, just like left foot outside across the box, pinpoint. So like it's kind of that could have been like a 5-0 game, could have been a 1-0 game. I don't think it is any easy game in the Premier League, but it'd be a close fought one, definitely. I still think we probably have the edge. Players going back from AFCON and stuff, but of course, you've got to back yourself. You're in a relegation fight, and we're not. So,
well, we might suck you in after this, mate.
You do what?
Welcome to the Talk Norwich City channel.
That's a bit inappropriate, mate.
Well, why not? No. We're all about the innuendos here. We really are. Yeah. And right, I'm gonna now. I'm sure you'll get your deck chair out. You'll maybe get a beer out and talk about this at quite some length. Let's talk about that game now. You have mentioned it. Norwich rock up at Selhurst Park. It was, of course, the last time that we played each other. A comfortable 3-0 win. You barely got out of second gear, in my opinion. Norwich fans were telling Billy Gilmour to bugger off back to Chelsea, should we say?
Get that
rightly. Yeah. What happened that day at Selhurst Park? Because it was just so comfortable for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, we never have comfortable games either. It probably was a mixture of you being so bad and us just not being bad. But like when your own fans are just singing like how shit you are, like what are we meant to do? Just like drop down to your level? Like I think you hadn't scored in like 700 minutes or something like that. So like you weren't thinking you were going to score anyway, let alone win. And then I think how quick did we score into the game? Like second minute, wasn't it? Did he score? Is that the wrong game? Did someone scored? I think Zaha scored in the second minute. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, when your own fans are chanting like, "Let's pretend we scored a goal," you know you've got problems. So I think it's more of look at how bad you were rather than look at how good Palace were.
You
Because
did.
we're probably average.
You're right. You're right. I think that's what frustrated me. That's what made me so angry, because when you lose 3-0, it's always going to be deflating. But when you lose 3-0 to a side that looked like it was just like a training match. Like you were just like walking around, like passing it around us, and like we weren't even tracking back. It was just such a weird game, and it's actually weird to think that Dean Smith has completely changed it around since then, and we're now on a really, really good run of form. So yeah, very strange game, and fingers crossed that doesn't happen at Carrow Road on Wednesday night. So let's get to the big stuff now. Let's get your score prediction. Now, before we do score prediction, we do it differently on TNC.
Right. Okay.
What's your head saying, and what is your heart?
What do you want first?
Whatever you want.
I'll go head first. I'd say like 2-1 Palace, because I think you're gonna score. Yeah, I think we're gonna score more, and that's the aim of football, mate. That's the aim of football.
So what's your heart saying? If your head's that good, what's your heart?
Well, my heart's saying 4-0 because that other guy that was kicking off at me. Yeah. No, I don't think it's going to happen at all. And before I come on here, I probably would have said 2-1 as well. But that comment's really boiled my piss. How does it feel about getting battered 4-0? And Wednesday, when we do win 4-0, I'll find that comment and just thumbs up it. That's what I'll do.
Okay, so we've got a 2-1 with your head, 4-0 with your heart. Well, I'm feeling really good about this. I think look, we're on a winning run. We're looking so much better defensively. We've now got the Sergeant Scorpion in full flight. We've got players coming back from the dead seemingly at the moment. We've got players back from injury. Mila Rashica is going to hurt you down that side. You don't want to hurt you down.
Don't go outside.
For me, I think this is going to be 3-1 Norwich City.
Shit.
I think it's going to be an off game for Palace. I think you'll come into this complacent, thinking it's going to be a walk in the park, just like it was at Selhurst. And I think we're going to do something here. So 3-1. That's what my heart is saying, might I add.
Okay, right. Go on,
but my head is saying 1-1.
Yeah, I thought so.
1-1. I think I just think the quality that you've got throughout your squad, the experience that you've got, and this is one of those games where you can't. I don't think you can lose it, because it will just be so bad for you. Like, I think you'll be embarrassed.
To be honest, you're on a 3-game winning streak. I don't think there's anything to be embarrassed about that. I mean, last month we'd have lost the game at Selhurst. We'd been like, oh my god, but I don't think it's as bad as you think. Maybe put some respect on your name.
Good.
The big boys coming up. Yeah, I reckon if you're good at set pieces, you could probably score 3.
Oh, well, we did.
If you're not, you ain't scoring 3.
Wolves. We did score a set piece against Wolves.
Yeah.
So set pieces as well.
Look out for Mark Guehe, number 6, our centre back. You'll not watch a better centre back in your life, I don't think.
He's a player.
Unbelievable.
Was he the lad that was on loan at Swansea from Chelsea?
Yeah, he was at Swansea. And then I think in the playoffs he got man of the match for both games in the playoffs.
He's like really nice guy, isn't he? Like,
he's so nice, yeah. Like, if I had a daughter and she brought him back, I'd be like, yeah. He's a good guy, mate. He's good. He's just so nice. Like, you can't hate him. But like, you can't dribble past him and he will catch up to you and he will clear it, and he's a proper little like ferret. He nibbles at your ankles, but then put a ball in, he's only like 6 foot.
You think that, but you don't realise that you are coming up against the GOAT, Timu Pukki, the Irish R9 in Adamida, Jonathan Rowe, let's have a go.
Yeah, there we go.
And Josh Sargent, the Scorpion. Mate, I think this could be an interesting game. Matey, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate your
pleasure,
time.
mate.
And thank you so much for everyone that's watching this live, for everyone that's watching it back. If you have enjoyed the chat, if you're watching on YouTube, do give this a thumbs up and subscribe if somehow you're not. And just to let you know, if you are watching this live, in 1 hour's time, we will be dropping the trailer for our big exclusive TNC podcast with Norwich City defender Ben Gibson. Right. fingers crossed the next time I speak to you, lovely lot, will be after we beat Crystal Palace at home. Come on, you Yellows. Let's do this.